In the summer of 1944,
While the Second World War burned across continents, 44 nations sent their most powerful bankers, economists, and politicians to a quiet mountain resort in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. Officially, it was called a conference to rebuild the post-war world economy, and officially, it was the meeting where a new empire would be born. The United States was in a unique position, and like Europe or Asia, its cities weren't reduced to rubble. Its factories were running at full speed, and more importantly, it owned over 2/3 of the world's gold supply. The Americans made a proposal: all nations would tie their currencies to the US dollar, and the dollar would be tied to gold. On paper, it was a fair system, a stable anchor to prevent the chaos of collapsing currencies. But behind the smiles and handshakes was a hidden truth. Whoever controlled the dollar would control the arteries of the global economy. And so, without a single bullet, America became the keeper of the world's money. But empires don't stay on top by playing fair. They stay on top by making sure no one can survive without them. The US began weaving a web: trade deals, loans, reconstruction aid, all denominated in dollars. Nations started stockpiling US currency like lifeboats in a storm. The more they depended on it, the stronger the invisible leash became. By the 1960s, the dollar wasn't just money, it was law. Oil-rich nations in the Middle East were convinced, some say coerced, into selling oil exclusively in dollars, birthing the petrodollar system. This meant every country on Earth, no matter how far, would need dollars to buy the fuel that powered their industries, armies, and cities. This was genius-level control. If a nation obeyed, the dollar flowed. If it resisted, the tap was shut off. No missiles, no tanks, just a sudden freezing of trade, collapsing currencies, and economic suffocation. Governments fell without a shot fired. Then came 1971. America's gold reserves were shrinking, and President Richard Nixon made a decision that would change history. He cut the dollar's link to gold. Overnight, the currency became backed by nothing but faith, and the military might to enforce that faith. Most empires in history used swords, cannons, and armies to dominate. America had built something far more dangerous: a currency empire. Today, over 80% of international trade is still conducted in dollars. Even nations that despise each other must pass through America's financial gates. Sanctions, SWIFT system bans, IMF debt traps, all modern tools of control, wielded not by soldiers, but by bankers. And the scariest part? Most people don't even see it happening. The real rulers of the modern world don't sit on thrones or wear crowns. They sit in boardrooms, behind polished mahogany tables, moving numbers on a screen, and with each keystroke, they decide the fate of nations. This isn't money. This is war disguised as economics.